good evening, listeners to TDN Radio, and of course, the viewers and listeners of this week in interview. Welcome to another episode of this week in interview with your host and guide, Anthony Drago. I hope you're having a great Wednesday so far. Uh, we hope the weather is more agreeable to some of you, depending on what your needs are. Farmers want rain, revelers want fair weather, people who work outside are enjoying the cooler temperature. So I hope wherever you are, what you're doing, that you're finding the weather agreeable to you and your needs. The month of May, we're coming up on the end of May. This is the last episode in the month of May, and May is observed as Mental Health Awareness Month, and so we'll be dealing with that tonight as our topic on this week in interview. But before I do that, let me welcome all of you to the post. Those of you who join every every week, every Wednesday, you come on. Thank you. I continue to appreciate your support and your participation in the program. And of course, if you're new tonight, you're just as welcome. Our objective is to grow, and so with that said, we equally welcome our new guests as we look to keep you on as a regular listener. Also, you have a couple radio stations that cooperate with us. RVR Jams in Dominica, they carry this weekend interview live on DG Play Channel 59. And in the Toronto market, we have Radio SBE. Also, we have TGM Radio, Glo- GTM, Global Talk and Music Radio, with our brother Angelo Allen. You can get it there. And I don't know how you are listening to me right now, but whichever way you are, I encourage you to give us a like, to follow, and make a comment. Support us. That's the way you support us, because the more you like the program, is the higher we rank on the search engines and so on. And it also encourages me it encourages me to continue to do this. We've been doing this now. I think this is our 14th, 13th or 14th year doing this weekend interview. It was started by Dr. Thompson Fontaine, and then he passed on to me, and I've been trying my best to keep up to the standard that he created and to surpass it. All right. So, as I said before, the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And if you are a long time listener to this weekend interview, you know there's a few topics that I gravitate to. And this weekend interview, we like politics and economic and just community affairs. We like health, your whole physical health. Because if you're not healthy, what can you do with the information that we give you? So we like to encourage you. We are in the fifth month of the year, almost the sixth. If you haven't done your annual checkup, I encourage you to go do that. If you haven't done a colonoscopy in the last 5 years, you should go and schedule to do a colonoscopy. I know a lot of people say it's 10 years, but I remember when we had Dr. Brevi on, when I used to do with Nurse Carbon, we used to do a health series. Dr. Brevi had told us that the rationale for doing it every 5 years is that it takes 7 years for a polyp to turn into a cancer. And so if you do it every 5 years, you catch the polyps before they even become cancerous, because colon cancer is one of the cancers that we figured out how to be preventative against. So I think it's more of an insurance thing. Um, I think it's more of an insurance thing, why they say every 10 years, because the insurance is, but you should try to get your colonoscopy done every 5 years. Women know they have to do their various tests. Men have to go check their prostate. So I just want to remind you of that. And I was counting down all my favorite topics to handle. Of course, I like the arts, writing, long stories, short stories, poems. I like to bring those artists on, musicians. We do that as well. And so environmental issues is also features greatly. We try to honor or recognize the various days World Rivers Day, World Waters Day, Soil Day, Earth Day. We want to show our gratitude to this wonderful planet uh, for for hosting us, so ably hosting us. And so I I I I doing tonight especially, I was inspired to do it because there is a program on on TDN network that takes place on a Monday evening. I think this is our second season of doing it, and it is done by a wonderful young lady, Miss Kathy Robinson. And I tuned in on Monday, and she was dealing with I didn't catch what the exact topic was, but she was dealing with mental health issues. And it was such a wonderful program because she was giving a lot of guidance as to if one of your loved ones is having a mental incident, a mental crisis, some of the steps that you should take, and you should do it urgently, and how you can conduct yourself so that you don't make the situation worse, but you give it the best chance of having a great outcome. And I said, I I don't know how much our audience overlap, but I would love to have that information be given to my audience. And so I invited her on. She's backstage, so she can Sam, you can bring her on. Um, I invited Kathy on so that more people can hear what she said, because I just really thought that she did a awesome job in the way that she was breaking it down on a practical level, on what you can do tonight, what you can do tomorrow, what you can do if you're having a family member who's going through a mental crisis. So, Kathy, I want to give you a warm welcome back to this weekend interview. You were on before. The last time you were on is when you was going to start your program, the Youth Effect. Yeah, my mic is muted. Um, so
Yeah, yeah.
I am welcoming you back, and I want to ask you about your experience so far as the host of the Youth Effect. Good night. Why are we still not hearing Kathy? Hold on, Kathy, we're not hearing you. Um,
Okay, me and my technical issues.
hanging out with those young people that haven't rubbed
Yeah,
off on
no,
you yet.
yeah. Normally, my daughters are on call.
Okay, okay. Well,
um,
welcome. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me tonight. I always say to you, and every time I speak about you, it's difficult to call you Tony. You're my math teacher, and just Mr. Drago is. I'm gonna try to say Tony.
Whatever you're comfortable
So
with.
thank you so much, and for giving me this opportunity and taking the time to listen to me when I was talking to you about this program. The past 2 years, it's coming up on 2 years, has been a interesting journey. It has definitely been an adventure, and after this season has been a little bit different because I brought on a lot more experts,
Mhm.
and then in the first season was more focusing on the youth, their voices. The second season was a lot about the experts and how we can help them, because the youth effect is about bridging the gaps, bridging the generation gaps, and reducing stigmas and bias against young people. And instead of placing blame, how do we work together in understanding each other, in having conversations with each other, and help everybody to be successful in the society? Maybe it can be a little bit idealistic, but we want to meet. They say, for me, I never say about reaching 100%. You go for 1,000, and if you drop to 800, and that's good. And if you come down to 700, that's good. If you go down to 100, then that's the normal mark everybody want, but you shoot for higher. So I'm going to be idealistic here and say, yes, I want to be able to reach out and touch as many people as I can. I know I should put a number to that, but we're working towards that. Um, so that we understand, especially for Caribbean cultures, we do not understand mental health and understand the youth. as we would like. I am extremely more tolerant to young people than adults. I totally am.
Mhm.
And I believe as adults we should be behaving better. But then we also have to realize, or I also have to realize, that all of us are walking with some trauma that we did not deal with. And that also inhibits us from being able to deal with a lot of situations.
Right. So,
See,
Kathy,
mhm,
before you go, I want to ask you a question.
yeah,
Um, you know, I always say that one of the joys of being the host of my show, This Week in Interview, is
hmm,
that I get to have conversations with people that I normally would never have the opportunity to.
yeah,
And some people who operate at the level where it's not me they're going to have time to spend an hour with. But because
hmm,
I'm the host of This Week in Interview,
yeah.
people send me information, people send me recommendations, people are willing to come, and I feel so blessed doing that. So the question I want to ask you is, after almost 2 years of focusing on youth and their voice and their needs and so on, um, I mean, what did you learn? I know that that's putting you on the spot, but did you learn anything additional that probably didn't come to your consciousness before you started doing the program?
I learned a lot, extremely a lot, and even preparing, spending time preparing for the episodes. I
Hmm.
mean, one of the things that came off, and I still advocate for, we always speak to the young people having mentors. One of the things I speak to is us as adults having young mentors so
Hmm.
that we understand the language. My children are my mentors. I have
Right.
them translate for me, because even though it may be English, the young people have their own language. And the other day they were teaching me some little words and shortened forms and just little things that the way they speak, which totally, even in dealing with someone on the week with who's having a mental issue episode, we had to go through a chat message, and for every other word I had to ask, what is this shortened
Oh,
form
really?
mean? What does this mean? And it has been a very educational journey. It has also brought, even though my girls and I are close, it has brought us closer together in terms of even bringing them on the program to share, because they're very in the background kind, but they were willing to come out to share because also they share in that vision of the connection between adults and young people. It also taught me how to calm down. Yeah, I learned a lot about myself during that program, and I learned so my own personal growth in how I dealt with situations, and I've seen my growth in the as a program host as well. I mean, on Monday was really a climax for me, and I'm like, "Hey, Sam!" Whoa! It was extreme because sometimes, yes, we prepare for the program, and then some things happen. Either your guests can come on, or something changes and you have to be on the spot and prepare for something, and I had to learn to do that, to be on the spot and prepare and get going, because it's about community service. It's about putting the information there and being in partnership with our community. And I would really, really, one of my great prayers, but they say prayer without action, faith without action, works is dead. So yes, with praying and doing, I want to also is my contribution to breaking those barriers to the youth, to reduce the youth involved in the criminal justice system, as well as to mental health, like people to help people to understand that people going through a mental break or psychotic break, they are not themselves. Because I've been hearing for this week when this thing was going on, oh, why can't he chill? Why can't he this? Why can't he do that? Why can't he just behave himself? He can't, because he's not in this realm with us. it's taken on a lot of us to be able to deal with this, and a lot of times our reaction comes from a feeling of our own helplessness and hopelessness because we don't have the education and the knowledge about how to deal with it. I mean, a lot of times when we express anger, that's why we angry. Sometimes we express anger because we feel triggered within ourselves because something is showing us up somewhere, or we feel helpless, so we feel something is at the root of this anger, and it comes out in frustration and everything as well. So that
Yeah,
was one of my things for doing this program on Monday, especially because of my experience throughout the week.
that's really enlightening, because I've had to deal with family members who were in a little bit out of sorts, not a little bit, far out of sorts mentally. And the way the analogy, best analogy I could think is like somebody's driving a car and the steering wheel and the brakes don't work, and they call you, and you're trying to help them by telling them pump the brakes, or turn it to the left, turn it to the left, and they
Right,
it's not working.
right.
So what we would our normal, all, the decades that we've been alive,
Mm-hmm.
we've practiced and developed skills in dealing with people, dealing with our children, dealing with our family, dealing with our co-workers,
Right,
dealing with strangers. And so we go back to that. Like, just go to sleep earlier. Try to rest, let your brain relax, but that
right,
person cannot fall asleep.
right,
Or or you know, take a deep breath. Whatever it is that we normally would, or just talk to the person, don't feed into them. All of the things that we would do under normal circumstances, they don't work. And
mm-hmm.
so we feel so helpless.
Right,
We feel like, I don't, they throw your hands up in the air or whatever it is. And one of the things that I picked up from what you said is that, especially if it's the first time that you're dealing with someone who is in mental distress, or going through a mental episode, I'll depend on you to describe the technical exact terms. But one of the things that we feel is that helplessness. And as caregivers, in that moment, we resort either to screaming. We think if
right,
we talk louder, we will
right.
get through whatever barrier that's there. We just need to talk louder because they're not hearing us.
Mm-hmm.
Or we get angry,
Right.
or we withdraw and go silent, or we
Mm-hmm.
tell them, or we abandon the effort and say, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit about that. Let us just paint a scenario. Say you have a teenage son or teenage daughter, and they're going through a mental episode, and the mother or the father or the sister somebody is trying to deal with that person. What you went through some really good steps, so I would like you to just start, if you can start doing there, and then we'll go on to maybe what triggers those episodes and that sort of thing.
Well, first you said the person is going through a mental episode. Most people will not recognize what a mental episode is.
Mm,
Okay. So the first thing we spoke on is the person acting out of character?
mm-hmm,
Is that their normal behavior? Are they saying, what are they speaking? How are they speaking? You know, how are they breathing? So you monitor and see what is going on in the first instance. Okay. So if they are acting, they could be acting extremely aggressive, or they could be acting very subdued.
mm-hmm,
They could be in a balance. But one of the things that will definitely come out, that they will be saying things that seem like gibberish. And we may dismiss it as you're talking nonsense. Just go lie down, get some tea, and go to sleep. But we need to listen. And it comes also in focus to our culture, again, in listening to young people, not just hearing, listening. We listen a lot to respond. We don't listen to understand. And by listening to understand, you take off all amount of judgment and you listen to what the person is saying. And then you can identify, are they who they normally are, or is something off? And sometimes we also use the term crazy or bipolar off the bat like this. These are not terms that we should use like that. There are people who actually have these illnesses
Mhm.
that it's a very serious thing. So when people are acting out of character, that's the first thing you try to identify. Is that a normal behavior? Have I seen this before? If it is a normal behavior and you have seen it before, then you call somebody for support. Okay, first of all, you call somebody for support, even if it's have a backup. But let me go back. We're speaking about home, and one of the things I spoke about was the safer response
Mhm.
for how you deal with it at home. Okay, so just getting my notes. Not to the point. Yeah. So first of all, we observe what is going on with that person. Let's call the person Jane
Mhm.
or Jack. So I might go interchange. So Jack comes home, or he's in his room, and then he just bursts through the door and he says something like, "All of you just doing whatever you want, just out of nowhere." Or he could also come and say, "I've been having a lot of anxiety lately." Some of us might say, "Okay, let us sit down and let's have a prayer." That helps too. But when somebody is going through certain things like that, talking alone won't do it. Talking doesn't do it. So you identify with what the person says. You can do. You mentioned about raising your voice on the alien. We have to do the opposite. Even in normal situations, if we're in a confrontational situation, anytime there is screaming and the person goes up and we go above them, it's gonna escalate.
Right.
Whenever you bring your voice down, the person is gonna listen because you're bringing your voice down calmly. You have to take everything. So these are skills that have to be practiced. It doesn't just come just like that. Have the Do your best to call the person by their name. Call them by their name. Don't tell them calm down or you're fine or that's not real or you're speaking stupidity. Being judgmental like that is just going to escalate the person. And if the person is already a little bit antsy, they might get aggressive if they're not aggressive because right now they're feeling like they're being attacked. Even under normal circumstances, I tell you for myself, if I sometimes I have a tone, I know I have a tone. I will do my best all my life to work with my voice and my tone. And especially if I get passionate about something, it can come off like I'm angry, right? And it gets me angry when someone tells me, but stop being angry. I'm like, I'm not angry, So it escalates. Yes, that's just my tone when I'm passionate. So much for somebody who is in distress. So first thing we have to practice is being calm. And the do nots, calm down, you're fine, that's not real. Because it for them in the moment it is real. If they're feeling anxiety, that means they're crying out for help. Do not say, just go and lie down. It takes so much to ask for help, especially the young people. Because for them, us as adults, we don't listen to them, we don't care about them. Okay. So the first thing I would say is that to you yourself, take a deep breath. Calm down because you're going into unfamiliar territory. Yes? So be careful about all the don'ts. Do your best to talk in the positive, have positive things to say. So after when if they listen, if Jane or if Jack listens to you and they sit down, calm them down to sit down, you listen to them. You ask who, what, why, when, how questions, not yes or no question. Talking up, we call it open-ended questions. Let them talk. They should be doing all the talking, not you. That time is not a time for lecture. Is not a time for blaming because what you can have happen at that moment, the person can just get up and go, and you do not know where the person is going to go to. You want that person to stay within a safe environment.
And
So,
if we stick up in there, sometimes what we're tempted to do, Somebody tell us what they're going through, and we tell them, but when I was 21, so and so happened on this, and we take over the scenario
Yes,
and
we make it
telling the
about
person
us.
and make it about us. So we have to be very careful not to do that, or to be careful how we do that, that we don't. So then the person can even make it worse, because the person can say, but I must be a real failure because Tony went through that when he was 21, and this is how we solved it. How come I cannot find a solution to mine? So
Exactly.
resist the urge to because to jump in and give a story of your experience. As you said, the most important thing is to listen to the person and make them feel heard and get that empathy. That alone is part of helping them to start to reframe their frame of mind. Okay.
And
So what
and
so
the,
what go ahead.
the reframing might never happen. What we want right now is calming down.
Yeah.
The reframing might never happen because if they're going through a psychosis, which is delusions or hallucinations, the issue that we had to deal with this week, the young man, he's 20 years old, was insistent that there was a camera in his AC in his room, and he was going to rip it out to find that camera. They will see things, they will hear voices. Okay, some people believe that the government is after them. They believe someone is always watching them or somebody's coming to get them. You know, this for them is real. It is real. Um, Sorry,
Mhm.
it's extremely hot here. It is
Oh,
real. So if I'm seeing something real and you're gonna tell me that's not real, I'm gonna get offended. I'm gonna get upset
right.
because this is right here. This is right there. And he would tell me this week, Auntie Coffee, you hear that? And he calls me Auntie Coffee. Auntie Coffee, hear that? Auntie Coffee, hear that? Like, no. But then after a while, I say, yes, I heard it. And then he'd say, um, I know I'm not crazy. I'm like, no, who said you were crazy? Who said you were crazy? You know, so again, too, it's all about the triggers. It's all about the triggers caused by the stigma set out in society. And even in our society, we still have that thing with Dr. Tide, because that is, I think, from way back in Dominica when doctor you just inject the patients, and that also gave a thing on society with regards to quote unquote crazy people.
Hmm.
But there are different levels of mental illness. Schizophrenia is way up on the end over there. Somebody could just be having a mental break. That is
So
a
at what
temporary
stage at
mental
what
break.
stage do you seek medical help, and what type of medical help do you seek?
Okay, so we're gonna come to that when we say after you approach them calmly,
Hmm.
you observe what is happening there. If they're getting aggressive and everything, once the inner you determine that they're seeing hallucinations, they're talking gibberish, or they are having delusions, you make sure the environment is safe. You take off all your knives, anything that they can do to, even though they don't say they are suicidal or they getting too aggressive, you remove things like that from the area, the room, keys, anything that can be used as a weapon. At that time, you have to be extremely sensitive because this can be a weapon, a pencil with a point.
Hmm.
Yeah, anything can be a weapon. At that time, too, they're extremely sensitive, so it could be sensitive to lights, noise, loud music, and things like that, banging. All those things can be extremely sensory, heightened sensory um, things
Stimulation.
and
Hmm.
stimulate them a lot.
Hmm.
Don't lock doors or block doors now. They're beginning to feel like they're being imprisoned. Okay? And let them pace because they have to walk up and down. Sometimes, even us, when we're distressed, we want to pace, right? So you allow them to pace and don't leave them alone. That's the first thing in identifying what is safe for the immediate thing. Then after you approach them calmly, you call their name, ask them their name. Call them by the name to see if they respond. If they don't respond, or if they are staring blankly because they can go into this trance, like you're sitting on there, nothing there, you can start getting prepared to call a medical help. Okay. You still, while in that middle time, you can say, I'm here, you're safe. assure them that they're in a safe space, that you're here to help. This will pass. You can say this will pass. Okay, you can say this will pass. That some people will not agree with this will pass, but I am going to suggest you can see that. All right. However, still call their name. Call them by their name. Jack, you're safe. I'm here to help you. I am here to help you. I care about you. I'm here to help you. If you're there in a professional manner, you don't say I care about you. You just say I'm here to help you. Okay? You sit down beside them. Like if you're sitting next to them, sit them next to them. Don't face them like this. That is a very confrontational position, and they might feel threatened and attacked, which might send them off to being aggressive. And you use very simple sentences, not long dialogues, because they cannot focus. All right. Then we engage support and stuff like that in terms of calling people over, ask them if they want water, because we do not know if that is something from something they took. All right. If it's something that they ingested, if it's from drugs or anything else, and watch, just monitor them in that meantime. So we're coming up to when would it be time to call the police or paramedics. You check their breathing, if they're vomiting, if they so first up to physicals, their temperature, their body temperature, their heart rate, which you can check it like this, you can check it like this, right? Check their heart, their pulse, and see. Or you, if they allow you to touch them, you have to ask permission first, because someone don't want you to touch them. Ask permission. Can I check your heart rate? And or you can see how fast they're speaking or how slow they're speaking. Check all those things. Okay. Do not give anything to eat because you do not know what they took. Milk or food or caffeine or anything to bring them down or to calm them down. Don't give any drugs because you do not know what is in their system. And then in that time, you can call someone over to come and support you, a trusted individual. But you need to start writing down everything that they say, the time it started, what any medical conditions, and then the medical condition. After you take look at the physical conditions, you look at the medical conditions. He's talking gibberish. That is happening. He's having delusions. He's having hallucinations. That is with the medical conditions. You take down and you write that down. The more agitated the person gets, as if they're just staring into space, you will ascertain that at that point in time, it is, especially if the episodes become closer together, you call for support. You call your 911, you call your helpline, you call your medical doctor or who you have on call.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's where we're at.
Yeah. Now let's take a break because we've gone past the half
The break
hour.
time.
Yeah. Let's take a quick. When you come back, we're going to talk about drug use, and some of the things that can cause a person to go into a spiral into that kind of episode. So stay with me, guys.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Presented by Presented by
What's going on?
People say I've got a great smile. Well, I have to say, this is all thanks to the professional team at Beacon Dental Group right here in Dorchester, Massachusetts. I've got world-class dental care. Beacon Dental Group has expert and caring staff dedicated to providing the most advanced and satisfactory treatment in all aspects of oral health. Their services are designed to meet your needs and give you a perfect smile, too. General checkups, cosmetic surgery, Gemini laser service, and advanced procedures, all in a state-of-the-art facility. Call or visit Beacon Dental Group today, 1026 Blue Hill Avenue, Dorchester, Massachusetts, or call 617-282-2146 for a smile that lights the world.
Looking to promote your business, engage current customers? Looking to promote your business, engage current customers, and reach new people? Well, look no further. From the basic presentation to a fully fledged advertisement. Use your video ads to attract customers. At Man's Audiovisual Productions, we do just that. We produce videos for business and event promotions, product demo videos, animated explainer videos, fundraiser ads, and much, much more. Engage your clients and sell online. We customize the video to match your brand design. Guaranteed to play flawless on all devices, including smart TVs. Contact us at telephone number 203-690-4342 or 767-245-6238. Visit our website, mansaudiovisual.com, or email us at derekvideo@gmail.com.
Running a radio station shouldn't be chaos. It should be simple, smart, and professional. With Joan Premium, your entire week schedule is beautifully organized and easy to manage. Real-time accuracy keeps your listeners in sync with every show. Your visitors and audience sees the right schedule every time, wherever they are. They can even choose different time zones. From analytics to social media and native app integration, Joan Premium is the professional tool your station deserves. You're never alone. We provide priority support for active license users. We're building a community. Connect with broadcasters worldwide through our Joan Community Hubs. Choose your plan, annual flexibility, or lifetime freedom. Get Joan Premium today. www.gndenterprisesinc.com or call 877-698-9894 for more information.
Welcome back, folks. Thanks for staying with us through the break. My guest tonight on This Week in Interview is Miss Kathy Robinson, and we're talking about mental health stability, and especially, every once in a while, hopefully not too often, we may have to deal with a loved one, a child, a parent, a friend, a stranger at work or a stranger in the public who is going through a crisis where their perception of reality doesn't match with what everybody else around them sees, and we have to deal with that. One of the issues that we have with mental health is that somebody catches a cold and we say that they're sick. Somebody has a cramp and we know that it's a temporary thing, but it's still an ailment of a limb or something like that. But when it comes to mental illness, I think maybe because we don't understand it and we feel a little helpless in dealing with it, we sort of feel like there's something wrong, additionally wrong with that person or with us if we're the ones going through it. And there's so much stigma attached to it that we're reluctant to call a doctor because we don't want it to go on their record, so to speak. And we're reluctant to call for help because we've seen so many cases in the news where the cops are called for someone who's going through a mental crisis and they end up shooting that person. We've seen so many things that cause people to hesitate
Right.
to call for help.
Yeah.
But before we will end with that, but Kathy, I want us to talk about the drugs and other um, stimulus that can trigger a mental health crisis.
Okay. Marijuana is one of the most commonly used in the Caribbean, right? So if we want to start in the Caribbean.
The US too.
In the US too, okay.
Mhm.
And the thing is, we say, or it can be said, well, when I was younger, I tried this and it didn't do me that. But now in this age, the type of spiking or lacing that's going on, and spiking and lacing is just things that are added to the marijuana, as well as when it's being processed, it's very, very, they call it high potency, which is something like, let's say, concentration.
Right.
If we just use a normal thing to make an analogy, you're making sorrel, right? I don't know if everybody likes sorrel, everybody can drink sorrel, but they make it extremely quote unquote strong, and you actually tasting how strong the amount of sorrel. It is so concentrated in this, it leaves a tingling sense or numbing our tongue. Is the same thing. So
Mhm.
in terms, if it was a drug, we'll say it's highly potent.
Right. It's
Sorry.
concentrated.
So it is right, very concentrated. So that's what it is in terms of high potency cannabis. And that is selling in vapes, you know. And right now it is even more dangerous because and attractive to the young people because the administration has just approved, allowed the FDA to approve flavored vapes.
Right.
So now I showed some examples of how the cannabis and things come in. It comes in pretty boxes that look
Mhm.
like cereals. It come in little nice packages that look like, those juice little flavored things for the kids. It comes in
It's like
all the
bubble gum. Yeah, gummies. Yeah.
yes, in gummies, in cereal boxes. It comes packaged the same way. One I was showing is called Cantaloupes, and I didn't realize it wasn't Fruit Loops because it has the same bird, just different colors, but it's the same thing. And it is so if you as a parent cleaning up a child's room, you wouldn't realize this is actually not cereal they're keeping in their room. So we have to be, first of all, so high potency drugs that's come like that because the normal drug that you might get, normal marijuana, I'm gonna take the leap and say, if you're somebody's doing once a week or stuff like that, it might not send them over the top. But if you're using high potency or laced drugs, if you're doing, it can be laced with fentanyl. Fentanyl is extremely, extremely dangerous.
Mhm.
Yeah, synthetic cannabinoids, all these things are processed. They are highly, highly processed. They call keto and spice. And so there's a lot of other names I am not even familiar with, right? So ketamines as well, methamphetamines, give me methamphetamines, and
Methamphetamine.
things like that. So we have to be aware that these things can, when we were younger, when I was younger too, there's something called Spanish fly. For the whole thing of me, I was thinking about this horse thing, but there was a thing going on about Spanish fly, and
Mhm.
they used to use it to spike the girls' drinks and things like day trip. All those things can have somebody, make somebody go into a mental position. So it's not only drugs, well, yes, it's drugs, but we have to be aware of these things. So, and even little things, because I remember too, paint cans. The children used to smell paint
Smell
cans
paint, smell glue.
and glue, right? So it's all, we have to be very observant of the behaviors and what is being done. Don't take anything for a joke. It's not a joke. Sometimes we take when children do things as a joke, and then when they get older, we start to try. No, the children are developed between the ages, full their mindset between up to 3, 5. Let's stretch it to 5 to 6. But by 3, everything already is in. So if a child is a customer smelling glue, and you figure it's normal. No, it's not. You have to take away by not screaming, because sometimes when we overreact, then they realize, "Oh, why don't you want me to do it? Something must be good or something must be wrong." Be calm so you don't add a value to it. Did
Before
I?
you leave marijuana, Kathy, what I want to say is that we see a lot of folks are accepting marijuana use as, I don't know, maybe a rebellion against society, maybe a cool thing to do. Parents don't frown on it as they should. But what amazes me is that there are a large variety of people who the first thing they do in the morning when they wake up, they go take a walk and they smoke marijuana. Some of them will get a dog for that reason. So while they're walking their dog, they're burning a spliff. And I always equate it to, if you know somebody that when they wake up in the morning, the first thing they do is take a shot of whiskey, what would you think of that person? Right? I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is I make myself a rum and coke or whiskey. I take my dog and I go out and I sip in my rum and coke or my whiskey while I'm walking my dog. We would think that person has a problem. I don't think anybody would accept that as normal behavior. But in my mind, it's the same thing as somebody rolling a spliff first thing in the morning and go for a walk and blowing a spliff. And and if until we start to look at it as that, I think we have to bend that curve that makes it look like it's something cool or something acceptable that people are using marijuana as a quote unquote recreational drug. There's no recreation in something that is triggering chemicals in your brain. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying I wish everybody would not do it, just as I wish everybody would not drink alcohol. But I drink alcohol. But if I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is go take a shot of alcohol, and when I come home in the evening, the last thing I do is take a shot of alcohol, somebody is going to want to run an intervention on me and say that I have a drinking problem. Why am I to be doing that same thing for marijuana, especially what you say is so important. The marijuana gets spiked. There's so many stories in Dominica of guys who used to smoke marijuana and then they put crack in it and they get hooked on crack that way. And in the US, the same thing happens. And then they make the marijuana, they breed them to be more, the concentration of THC to be higher.
It's
And so when you take it, every time you take a hit, you're exposing yourself to the opportunity that you might walk a
that's
little
right.
bit too far down that road. But I just wanted to put that in there as something that we probably don't think about it that way.
Yeah, you made some very, very valid points. I mean, all of your points are valid. Are valid. Some people may have a different perspective on it because, they may have their marijuana growing in their yard because, there's a law that you are allowed a certain amount of plants now. And that homegrown is not like the one out on the market.
Mhm.
And they sit down in the morning and they roll their stuff or they buy it from other small growers, and it's in normal, quote unquote, organic little things. And they've been doing it for years, and it does not affect the chemical restructuring of their brain. But we have to realize that when we go out right now, on every corner, well, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but the ratio has gone up now to how many little marijuana shops that are out there. I can't remember the name they use for them, but
Dispensaries.
legal.
Hmm.
Sorry,
Marijuana dispensaries.
dispensaries.
Dispensaries, yeah.
Right, thank you. The number of dispensaries are there out now. You're not sure what it is that you're getting, And the young people right now, they want to be. It's a trend thing. If you're not smoking, you're not in. And as psychologists we normally talk about the Maslow hierarchy, the basic needs of our the triangle of how we operate as humans. One of our things is belonging, and we know we are social animals, and especially for the ages 12, 11 to 25, the brain is still developing. So that is the most vulnerable time frame for anybody to get involved in marijuana or any kind of drug habit. So as if during that time anything can happen. For some people it might not happen, because one of the things I learned and understood is not only the smoking that allow you to have a tendency towards that, our genetic makeup or
Yeah.
DNA and all other factors, our own traumas as well, lead to how much of a mental breakdown or psychosis we can go into. So some of us, I mean, be naturally resilient, and some may be extremely vulnerable, weaker to it, and all those things play in. You go out with some friends, they only have to take one glass of wine and they're down, gone
Right.
flat.
Hmm.
And then another one who has a capacity for 5 glasses, and they're still okay. So that is the same thing happens with drug intake and marijuana intake. um I would agree with you. For young people now, every street corner you see them walking casually with weed in their hands, because right now it's legal. My thing about making it legal and making it so accessible is Sometimes we say if you make it accessible, it might reduce the habit, but it's not reducing the habit. It's putting a lot of our young people more in danger's way, more in harm's way.
Yeah.
And yeah,
The thing about it is that society has changed,
right,
and we have marketing now that is so fine tuned
right.
in terms of influencing people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different to say, okay, during prohibition, alcohol was desired because it was illegal, and then you legalize it. People
Right.
continuing to use it, but it now came into regulation. What's
That's right.
happening now is that marijuana is becoming decriminalized. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, that is people who are marketing are at the top of their game
Right.
in convincing young people that they need this thing.
Mm-hmm. And
And and and,
because, go ahead.
and so that double whammy is what makes it extremely dangerous.
Yeah, and with the internet, and as we say, the world is a village now. Nothing is beyond anybody's reach.
Right.
Nothing is beyond anybody's reach. And if we have an accessible, acceptable legal limit that we can have a possession of, then who knows if it's laced, if you know is it spiked, or but we have this legal limit. And if we keep on taking and ingesting that legal limit that is spiked, that has fentanyl, that has all kind of things, have crack and everything in it, imagine what that is doing it's easy for persons below the age of 25 now to get for them to end up getting schizophrenia, which is a full blown what we call crazy.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's a non-reversible. If they have a simple psychosis or a break when they're getting the hallucinations and we picked it up early and we allow them to get help. One of the other things is, how do we get help in small countries and in small communities? Where is the help? And a lot of people do not want to go for help. Even a normal therapy, which all of us need, normal therapy, people are afraid to go to deal with it because something you mentioned, it's the stigma attached to status, as well as they don't want people to know that they went to a doctor or they're having this problem. So take your pick. The problem can end in a grave or in a psych ward, or you can block it before it happens.
Right.
Go to therapy, because even our normal daily stresses, confusion, feeling like a failure, as you say, our traumas, Carl Young will call it our shadows. Um, all of those things we can have a mental break from without even taking a puff of marijuana, without even drinking alcohol, without being addicted to anything else. So, in the light of that and having psychosis as an extension of drugs, we have to take, and as you started off this tonight's episode, we have to be extremely cautious and intentional about our mental health and where we are at any particular point in time. We need to be highly, highly self aware of who we are, what is our normal behavior, and when it's time for us to call for help.
And we have to check on our loved ones.
Yes,
You know, they she know I love her, man. So even if I haven't spoken to her for 3 months, she know I'm good. If she need me, she can call me. We have to get past that and say, you know what? It's about 2 months I haven't spoken to Tony. Let me give him a call and make sure he's
right.
good. Or send him a text and make sure he's
Mm-hmm.
good. Get a response, because you never know that at that time the thing that saves that person is that text from you asking you how you're doing, what's
Yes,
happening if you, what's going on. So let us take care of our loved ones by reaching out. We have all the means of reaching out. Let's use it.
I agree with that, because one of the things I've heard mentioned is, oh, y'all don't care about me because I now have a problem, I sick, all you rallying around me. And
Right.
one of the things is, they do not, especially young people, they do not know if we really care about them because we don't express it. Or we just figure they're 18, they're big man, they're big woman, they're good. But we have to learn how to express affection for people, even though it's within boundaries, and to let people understand that we do care about you. And that is a very good thing. And another thing is, okay, so yes, I should, how do I do it? How often do I do it? For me, sometimes what I do, like at least every 3 months, I just go through down the whole list in my contact
Contact
list
and reach out.
in other than business, of course, but my circles or whatever, and I just send messages, and it's send message. Another thing too is getting rid of toxic people in your circle. It could be family. We don't choose our family, but we have to choose our circle that is not going to be toxic to us, that
Mhm.
puts us down, that devalues us all the time. We have to be intentional about those things. It's not that I don't love you, but you cannot be in my circle. You cannot be diminishing me and devaluing me. So you stay there and I stay here. But I'm not upset with you. I'm not vexed with you. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So a lot of things other than drugs can lead to psychosis, can lead to a mental break.
Right.
Financial issues, quality of life is going up, inflation, financial issues, especially for young men, because our young men are afraid to ask for help or to say that they cannot manage a situation, because we give the impression that men supposed to be macho. They have all the answers. Well, you're a man. I shouldn't be telling you. You should be telling me. So all the stresses a young man face, a man face in the family. So tell us about that.
Oh, well, you know, men, I guess, can experience stress because the economy has been transformed to where women have uh, equal or even super earning potential and situations of empowerment
Right.
than men.
Mm-hmm.
And because men are socialized to be the leader in their relationships and to or however they socialize that they're supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
then it can result in a feeling of inadequacy.
Right.
And so men have to be really cognizant of that and to make sure that they're not putting undue pressure on themselves to where it causes them to go into a depression. In relationships too, we our young men are socialized to prove that they can they can conquer, if you want to put it like that, women, to to get to women, that they are conquest. And when they do, then they feel like they have to perform,
Right.
either being able to organize a date and pay for a date and have a car, and be able to, and when you're among friends, to be able to drink more than your friends,
Right.
to be able to be more physical than your friends, because you otherwise you feel like, especially if the young person in your life is with you,
Mm-hmm.
um, you feel like that might diminish your esteem in that person's eyes. And
Mm-hmm.
so we put a lot of pressure on ourselves in that regard. And on top of that, when you get the impression that young girls talk to each other and they talk to their moms, and so if something is bothering them, they can just talk it talk about it, and they end up laughing or they cry or whatever it is.
Right.
Men are reluctant even to go to their friends to talk about the problems that they have, because it lowers them in the hierarchy in terms of who's the alpha and who's next and who's next and who's next. And so our young men are not socialized very well to survive in our modern day society. And
Right.
and so as fathers and as uncles and as young men ourselves, the one of the things we can do is to engage more, become part of a formal organization where you can pick up skills in terms of being able to organize projects and execute and go on hikes, and something in a structure, not just a group of friends and we decide, oh, we're going this weekend, we're going to Las Vegas for what? No, look for an organization, the JCs, the Rotary Club, the Lions Club, whatever other organizations they have. Put yourself in one of those situations where you will pick up the skills that you need, and you'll also find yourself in situations where you can prove yourself as a person outside of all of those other social pressures. So
Yeah.
I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, I mean, and it goes far more than that. Or us as women have also to develop skills how to support our men in those regards. Okay, because a lot of how society is turning on now is a lot of young women are looking for sugar daddies, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just speaking the facts as it is.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are looking for sugar daddies and they're looking for stuff like that as well. And also calling the guys names. So now the guys do not want to, oh, you're not a man, you're not a this, you're not a that. So is how do we also go out and support our men, our young men, our partners in situations like that, and how to speak, and all that is skills that we learn, not only bringing up. Um, Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Prosper.
Every Wednesday he's on.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
a
Yeah,
regular.
locked in. Thank you. Yeah, so it's a societal thing that we have to start with, according to Michael Jackson, the man in the mirror. What am I doing today or now in the moment, being intentional in being present with the people who I am with? How intentionally are my relationships with the children in my family? And intentional is being aware and purposefully and deliberately making a decision of what you do or what you do not do. So being in connection with our families, we need to, especially our young people, to show them, not just for them to just say, oh, they know I love them. Love is an action word. You have to put it in action. Send a card. We have lost the thing of cards. We send texts. My aunt, my loving, loving aunt, God bless her soul, Auntie Avis. One of the things she does, she used to have always had stationery on hand, little thank you cards or little cards. And she always stressed the importance of handwriting notes, thank you notes or little notes, because she said it shows more value,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this kind of environment and technological era we are in right now. And I tend to agree with her. When somebody sits down and puts a line together, the amount of effort and emotional thing that goes in that. No, people can't just say, okay, chat GPT, write me a letter. You know what I mean? Because everything is becoming AI, so much, focus on AI right now. Not that doesn't have its benefits, it does have its benefits, but I just use it as an example as to how easy it can come. When we have to put our soul into connecting with people, and if we do not want to connect with these people, let them know they're not in our circle. Let them go somewhere else. And that is why too, when in the mornings when somebody say, how are you? A lot of people say I'm fine, because they've thought behind there, do you really want to listen to me? To if I have to start talking about my stuff, you want to hear I'm fine, I'm gonna tell you I'm fine. So
Right.
it's all those things that we have to create, also groups to be intentional to listen. Active listening skills is a skill. That's why they call it a skill. It's something that we have to learn or teach ourselves. We look at YouTube and TikTok and all those things. All of them too have programs where you can learn those skills. So get on the track and learn the skills. Start with
That's it.
active listening.
All right, but let's wrap it up because we've gone over our hour. I think we give a lot of information to folks. Just the thought of being aware that we should pay attention to our mental health and the mental health of the people around us
Hmm.
is enough of the message,
Right,
because it's similar to a cramp. You can have a cramp in your leg, and if you treat it well, it goes away. Or you can have a cramp in your leg, and depending on how you treat it, it might turn into a strain and
right,
turn into a semi-permanent limp. So similarly, we need to be aware and alert and intentionally look for. So the analogy I like to give is, uh, as an engineer, uh, I've done like being an engineer in a manufacturing facility. And one of the things I always tell the young engineers and the people who work in my charge, I'll tell them, how is the plant? Also, everything is going well, everything is smooth, or production is good. I say, okay, take 10 minutes and go walk through the plant and get accustomed to every piece of equipment and how it sounds when it is working well. So that one day you will approach the plant and hear a different noise, and you will know that something is happening, and you will catch it before something breaks or
right.
something is alert you that something needs maintenance. And so
Yeah,
that's the same thing I want people to be aware of is, get used to your people, get used to yourself. When everything seems to be well, so that the moment something goes out of sync, you can pay attention to it. It may not be anything, it may just be somebody shifting, but at least you will be aware. You will look at it, oh, okay, it's nothing, and you can stand down, or you right at the moment where you can identify it while it's early. So that's one of the messages I'd like to give, is to get familiar with ourselves, get familiar with our loved ones, what is normal, quote unquote normal, so that when something off happens, you can catch it.
Yes, great thing. But Tony, before we go, you asked me about red flags to call the 911. Let me just add some other things to it.
Okay.
You can look for seizures, somebody becoming unconscious. You can look for trouble breathing. And like they're
Mhm.
probably having an asthma attack or something if they do not have asthma. You can also look for discoloration in their fingertips and in their lips. Okay, if they're having chest pains, or if they're not stopping vomiting, or if they're vomiting and they will not vomit and they start vomiting. So all of these I wanted to add before we
Yeah,
go.
sure. No, that's important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Signs, right?
Right.
Look for that points to crisis.
Okay. Especially they're becoming aggressive and your safety and theirs is
Right.
threatened.
Other things like somebody not the person never misses work,
Yeah.
and they wake up this morning and say, I don't feel like I want to go to work today.
Yes.
Or like in young people, I don't feel like I want to go to school today. Is it because your child got bullied? Is it because your child, is there something triggering? So yeah,
Yes.
those signs. And so, but you're saying that sometimes, because we spoke about the use of the trigger being maybe substance related,
Yes.
that if you see those things happening, have it in your consciousness. Even if your child is an acolyte, he's the best behaved boy that you know, and he's stable and social, and you see something like that, don't automatically rule out that he could have tried something, and he's having a reaction to it. Don't rule it out. So
Mm-hmm.
you said like uneven breathing or heavy breathing or fast breathing,
Anxiety.
discoloration,
Yeah.
anxiety,
Anxiety.
and so on. Look out for that. All right.
Yeah.
So as we close, I want you to give some closing statements. I know we talk about parents looking at young people, but
Mm-hmm.
your program is the youth effect. So what should young people be looking at when they look at their parents to see if they need to figure out if their parents is going through a crisis or about to go through a crisis?
Sometimes us parents always in a crisis.
Right?
My daughters sometimes they say, "Well, it's difficult to raise parents nowadays."
Oh, really?
You
It's
see what
difficult
I
to,
have to go through. So,
difficult
but
to raise parents.
yeah,
That's
I
like that.
believe the first point is developing a relationship with your children,
Mm,
making them provide a safe space for them to be able to come to you. One of the things, and I use myself an example a lot, and people say, "Oh, you think you're the best parent?" Yes, I believe I'm the best parent. I'm sorry. If you don't think you're the best parent, that's on you.
then you go
That's
improve it,
on
right?
you. Yes, I will boast my parenting because I worked really, really hard with my village to have two successful young women. People may measure success in different things, but my success is being stable, having a head on your shoulders, knowing when to call for help, knowing I acknowledge being self-aware and acknowledging where your weaknesses are to work on it. All
Yeah.
right. Whatever that looks like. So for me, that is the first place to start, for to be able to provide a safe space for your children to be able to speak with you.
Hmm.
My younger daughter started with talking to me with my back to the door, with the lights out at 9 o'clock in the night. I couldn't watch her. But you know what? I took it one step at a time. Take it where they are at and listen. Don't butt in, as you mentioned earlier. Listen without judging. Because by one time, as you start saying, as you said, start saying, "Oh, well, what about me when I was instant shutdown?" So, because the child now, when something is not going well with you, they now can know you're in a real crisis. The other thing is trust. Other than providing the same space, you want the child to trust you. But do you trust your child? You see how that goes? So
Mhm.
at home for us, everybody has everybody on GPS, on iPhone tracker and stuff. But we're not tracking everybody. It's a matter of safety. They know everywhere I go, they know everybody, they know my entire friend circle. Nothing is secretive. Even when I used to be probably dating or whatever, they knew everybody I went off with and they had a number. Mommy's going out with this person, that is the number. So if you don't get me, and that's where I am. You have me on the app. You can track me, you can follow me, you know the name. So if I don't show up, you can call the police. But our lives as adults, we tend to say this is big people business. But there's everything that can be child appropriate that we need to share. And that's how you build the trust. And you give that child some trust as well. Let them know I trust you with this, and you allow it. You allow them. And sometimes we have to ask ourselves, okay, they did that. Is it going to kill them? No. Okay, I can step back. They can stand back up on their own. All that is trusting them. Let them say that you trust that they can come back up on their feet in little, little things. But know when it's just there for you to catch them. So they'll know, okay, that's a safety thing. Let me tell you now, Tony, it starts from baby. I don't want anybody to tell me put down my children. Or even all now, so they're 25 and 21. Oh, they are spoiled. That is fine. They're spoiled children, that is fine. They're mine to spoil. But how do you spoil them? Are they spoiled rotten? Or are they spoiled as disciplined young people? It's okay to do things for your children. I used to bring breakfast to them in bed. Mommy used to say, oh, there, let them come on. I said, it's my children. You know what? I'm raising the bar. So if any guy have to come and bring breakfast to them in bed, they will say, shh, you have to climb higher than that. My mother did that for me, you know? So it's about trusting them, teaching them that they have value, and those things come in being in intentional parenting at every single decision we make in our life. And that is how you ask about how do children know. That's how they know, because if we do not have that relationship with our children, they will always be looking at us as in crisis mode, because we're always talking about paying the bills, we're always talking about putting food on the table, we're always coming home talking about certain situations at work. We are always in crisis mode.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know if that helped you answer, but that's
No,
what I
it
have.
did. It did. So it starts, as I said, it starts with creating and understanding what is normal and usual, so
Right.
that we recognize when there is a change. Our
Mm-hmm.
ears will pick it up, our nose will pick it up.
That's right.
Something will trigger us that we need to take a second look. That
Mm-hmm.
good morning, I'm fine is not
It's
exactly
not
good
gonna
morning. It's not the
work.
same good morning and fine. It's different,
Right.
you know. So I think we did. I hope folks, come away with the fact that we have to be aware of our mental health, because what distinguishes a human being from an animal is that we can think about our thoughts, and so let us use that ability to think about our thoughts to be aware of the importance of our mental health. The humanity in us is what allows us to be able to think and not just respond to stimulus that comes to our five senses, but we can appreciate a relationship, not just a group of guys. We meet on a Friday, we play dominoes, we drink, and everybody go out their home. We understand each other enough that if something happens and it's unusual, we are the first to pick it up and make a call or do a wellness check, because that is not our normal partner. Same thing with the girls. That's not our usual sister. That's different. Um, it might not be anything, but it is worth following up and checking. So, mental health awareness month, month of May, is coming to an end. I hope that you pick up on some of these things, and it's things that you can do tonight and tomorrow. Your turn for closing remarks.
Well, the first thing they can do is pick up that phone or make a note, a to-do note to call tomorrow to go get the annual done. Okay, that's the
Yep.
first point in thing. The next thing they can do is, what is a ritual I have to debrief myself in the evenings, or how do I
Mm,
start my mornings?
wow. Yeah.
Okay, how it can be 5 minutes. especially for caretakers. You know what? You're working in a busy place. I haven't got time. Everything needs to be scheduled. You want to go out on a date, you're going to schedule that. But have a 5 minute date with yourself during the day. Go to the bathroom. Tell your work employee, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to do a number two. Just sit down on the toilet and take a breather. That helps. That
Yep.
helps. You know, if it's one thing I like about the Muslim faith is they pray 5 times a day and they get their time to pray for 5 times a day. You know, so why can't we take 5 minutes every 2 hours to get ourselves back grounded? So that's my closing thing. Ground yourself, stay in the moment, stay present with your friends and your family, and look out for each other and look out for yourself.
Great. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you so
for
much
coming
for
on with
having
me
me
tonight.
on.
I'm so happy that you're able to come, and it's great to have you. And all the best. Tell us something. Oh, I should not let you go before I let you do a pitch for the Youth Effect to encourage my audience to tune into you on a Monday night.
Yes, so the youth effect is all about allowing the young people to have their voice. Well, they have their voices, but to express their voices, and to say where they're at, to give us an indication that they are progressive young people. They know that what they want, and they to bridge the gap between the older generations in terms of breaking down stigmas and helping them to provide a level of support into getting to where they need to be and where who they should be, bringing out the potential in them, in who they should be.
Tell
And
them
in
how they can
turn,
get the show, the time of the show. I'm
yes,
sorry for the
and
time.
the show is every Monday at 8 to 9:30 Eastern Time on TDN Network. You
Hmm.
can go SBE Radio, the same things that you mentioned earlier.
But do you carry it live on your Facebook
I
page?
carry that on Kathy Robinson Peter, my page, and soon we'll be carrying it out on through the Youth Effect page.
Youth Effect page. Okay.
Youth on Facebook, yes.
All right.
We'll soon be getting onto a YouTube page, so these things are in the works.
Okay, great. And awesome. Congratulations on
You can
grabbing the program.
Yes,
And
they can also email the show at the Youth Effect 767 at gmail.com to give their suggestions and people, young people they want to feature, experts they might want to come on the show. Send it to the Youth Effect 767 at gmail.com. I'm looking forward to that.
awesome. Awesome. So thank you so much. All right.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you
All
to
right.
your audience and have a good night and a great week.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
folks. So another wonderful episode of This Week in Interview. We're talking to the host of, we spoke to the host of a wonderful show on TDN Radio, The Youth Effect. Kathy, I know her a long time because when I taught at a high school in Dominica in the 80s, 1986, I think it was. I taught Kathy mathematics and I think Caribbean history. Those are the two subjects taught in convent, mathematics and Caribbean history. And she was one of my students. And it's so wonderful to see the young people grow up into wonderful, beautiful adults, and they now have their own families, and they're reaching back and pulling the young people along with them. But one of the things that she said that resonated with me towards the end is that we should, as part of protecting our mental health status, is to get into a ritual or a routine for ourselves. So a simple thing like when you wake up in the morning, make your bed. I mean, the military does that with their cadets and their recruits. Make your bed because not for just for the sake of making a bed, but it grounds you. You get up and you're doing something for yourself. The first thing in the morning, you do it for yourself because get what? It's paying dividends for you when you come back in the evening to lay down tired and there's a bed well made and welcoming. So get something that you do first thing or whatever time for yourself every day. And then she talk about in the evenings debriefing yourself and putting what happened in the day in perspective. All right, so May month, Mental Health Awareness Month. I look forward to seeing you next week, Wednesday, for another episode of This Week in Interview. Good night, everyone.